Most people lose their day in the first 10 minutes of waking up. They roll over, check their phone, flood their brains with dopamine, and by the time they actually start their day, they are already losing. But what if your mornings made you unstoppable? What if within the first 3 hours you accomplished more than what most people accomplish in their entire day? In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 morning principles that I use to get shit done. So let's get right into it. I used to be a serial procrastinator, and the way that I would start my day was by checking notifications or responding to emails, probably even scrolling on Reddit for a while. And I know that 5 minutes of scrolling and checking notifications seems like a pretty harmless activity, right? But what it does is that firstly, it floods your brain with dopamine and you experience unearned pleasure. I do not have to move a muscle to experience this fun. And this now becomes the benchmark for the rest of the day. My body now expects me to provide it with pleasure with little to no work. For the rest of the day, I just wouldn't feel like doing anything that required effort. Secondly, when you start checking notifications and scrolling, you scatter your attention and you start implanting all these new thoughts in yourself. Now your brain is constantly thinking about these 10 different things in the background. And this made it incredibly hard for me to actually sit down and focus deeply on one task. I would always feel like my attention was just bouncing from thought to thought. But what I do now is that I start my day by doing something challenging. For me currently, that challenging thing is doing 30 minutes of deep focused work. What this habit does is firstly it sets the benchmark for the rest of the day. My body knows that, hey, no more free pleasure. You actually have to do the work in order to feel good later on. Secondly, after finishing that 30 minute of challenging task, you feel like you've started your day with a win. This is such an uplifting feeling, and for the rest of the day it's much easier to build up on this win and do even more productive things. By the way, this challenging activity does not necessarily have to be deep focused work. It could be anything that's challenging to you. Could be a cold shower, could be you going for a morning run, could be you meditating. As long as there is something that it makes you experience a bit of discomfort, you're going to get all these psychological benefits. Each morning we start our day with gold in our hands. This gold is your attention. And each morning there are hundreds and thousands of things that want to steal this gold from you. From things like social media, food delivery apps, to your overly talkative neighbor who wants to tell you about his dog's diarrhea. Everyone wants to steal your attention. Now you can either invest this attention towards something that is deeply meaningful to you, like growing a business or upgrading your career skills. And after a couple of months or years of investing your attention in these things, you can actually watch them grow and have a sense of fulfillment. Or you can give this attention to the 1001 distractions around you, make no progress in life and feel depressed. What I do each morning is not only do I try to do productive things, I also try to protect this attention of mine. For the first 3 to 4 hours in the morning, I put my phone on flight mode. Not a single notification or a call can get to me, and this has been a game changer for my productivity. If you're trying to work and you have your phone throwing notifications at you, then you're just wasting so much of your brain power worrying about that notification. Thinking about some girl who's texting you, thinking about what she has probably said. And I know there might be a voice in your head that says that I can't put my phone on flight mode. What if there's an emergency and people need me? But the truth is that I have been putting my phone on flight mode for 4 years, and never have I had an emergency that required my immediate attention. Like, my world did not end. But for those 4 years, investing my attention into the right things allowed me to become one of the best performing students and work as a software engineer at Fortune 500 companies. The second thing that I do is that I limit human interactions early in the morning. And I know that for some of you this might sound like an overkill, but talking to other people can be a massive distraction, especially if they drop some stressful or negative news on you. Like someone telling you you might get fired the next week. Or I don't know, someone telling you like your haircut sucks. Working when you have stressful news or negative thoughts in the background makes it 10 times more difficult to be productive. If you truly want a distraction-free environment around you, then I would recommend that you start your day way before the average person. These days I wake up at around 4 a.m. and the first 4 hours of my day are the most productive parts of my day. Because all your distractions are asleep. Your boss isn't requesting an urgent meeting. Your parents are not assigning you chores, and your neighbor is not ringing the doorbell. All your distractions are asleep. All these morning routines or hacks are useless unless you're spending your nights the right way. If you truly want to have a productive morning, then you need to make sure you're getting a high quality of sleep, and not just for like 2 days, but actually 7 days a week. You need good quality sleep. In the past, my sleep quality used to be horrible. I used to just go to bed at random times. I did not get sunlight the entire day. Then I used to wonder, why don't I feel productive when I wake up, no matter what protocol I followed in the morning. It's only once I started taking my sleep extremely seriously did I start seeing my mornings become productive. productive. The first thing that I started doing was going to bed at the same time every day, even on weekends. These days I go to bed really early, like 8:30 p.m. I'm in bed, not a minute later. Whether I feel sleepy or not, I am in bed at 8:30. The next thing I do is that I make sure I have my dinner at least 2 hours before sleeping. This way I feel that my sleep is far more rejuvenating. Like my body does not have to spend all that energy in digesting my food. Lastly, what I do is that I dim all the lights in my room 90 minutes before I go to bed. What this does is it signals my body that, hey, it's night time to relax, time to calm down, go into sleep mode. Just by following these protocols and optimizing my sleep, I wake up each morning like the Undertaker, feeling motivated and full of energy. So if you're the guy that eats garbage food and watches Netflix till 2 a.m., then your first priority should be optimizing your sleep. One of the biggest things that stops a person from being productive is friction. Imagine you woke up, your table was clean, your room was clean and organized. You knew exactly the tasks that you had to do. You had your laptop out, your notes and documents ready. Think about how easy it would be to just wake up and start working on that task. Now, imagine if you woke up and you found that your table was a complete mess. Piles of sheets everywhere and you don't even know what exactly you're supposed to do that morning. Just think about how difficult would it be to start a task on that particular morning. That's because the more friction there is between you and the task, the harder it is to do that task. So what I do each night is that I try to remove as much friction as possible. I keep my notes ready, I plan what I'm going to work on in the morning. And trust me, just doing this each night for 10-15 minutes makes a huge difference to my productivity levels in the morning. What I'm about to say might seem very controversial, but just hear me out. One thing that helped me be extremely productive in the morning was skipping breakfast. When I would have a large carb-filled breakfast in the morning, I would then feel kind of tired, kind of slow, and I would have a hard time absorbing things. That's because when you ingest large amounts of food, then your body has to spend a lot of its resources in trying to digest that food. And this is why you feel your energy levels drop a bit. So what I do now is that I don't eat anything, at least for the first 3 or 4 hours each day. And during this fasted state, when I have no food in my belly, I feel light, motivated, and productive. And this hasn't just been my experience, but also the experience of others like the millionaire entrepreneur Alex Hormozi, who actively tries to delay his first meal of the day, and Hamza Ahmad, another millionaire entrepreneur who recommends not having carbs while doing deep focused work because it impairs his ability to absorb information. Another added advantage of skipping breakfast is that you do not have to spend the time making breakfast. You do not have to worry about running out of milk or cereal or worry about washing your bowls. And I know that this might not seem like a big deal, but any distraction that you can remove from your mornings is going to lead to higher amounts of productivity. Now, having a good morning routine is great to overcome procrastination, but sometimes I felt that the challenging tasks that I was supposed to do each morning can feel a bit too overwhelming, and this itself could lead to you procrastinating a task. So make sure you watch this video to overcome that barrier.